So picking up where the last video left off, as we rolled into December 2020, my 2 weeks of quarantine were also coming to an end. So I got ready to say goodbye to my temporary workstation, my stolen Netflix account, and ordered my last in-room quarantine meal, while also doing some research on all the delicious food that was waiting for me outside in the real world. And then Liberation Day came to me with the final view of the beautiful mountains of Yangmingshan National Park and a few surprise rainbows here and there. I then made my way from Taipei to Hsinchu, where I had the pleasure of getting tested for COVID yet again. Thankfully, that came out negative, and I was finally ready to experience Taiwan. So I spent about 2 weeks out of quarantine in Taiwan, and my first impression there was how much the Taiwanese love their tea. I mean, I come from India and I thought I loved my chai with milk, but the Taiwanese have their own special obsession with bubble tea. In my 2 weeks of working there, I don't think a single day passed where my colleagues and I didn't actually go or think about going to get bubble tea after lunch. And when we did go, the choices were incredible. We sometimes even had nearby coffee shops deliver bubble tea to us at our workplace. And once in a while, they came with a snack. This one specifically was a sesame-coated hot bun, stuffed with beef and spring onion and kimchi, a nice pick-me-up for the long work days. Now, when I wasn't at the office, I used to go to a nearby mall for dinner. Now, keep in mind that Taiwan is one of the most successful countries in combating COVID so far. So the streets were packed, the mall was busy, and thankfully there were a lot of options to eat. And I kept coming back to this hot plate of grilled squid and random assorted vegetables. As you see, there's some noodles with a black sauce. And to be honest, in a lot of these restaurants, that's what I found. They had this unique peppery black sauce. The flavor was the same, but it was unique nevertheless. One quintessentially Taiwanese experience I managed to have right before leaving Hsinchu was the famous Taiwanese beef noodle soup. A colleague of mine took me to a nearby beef noodle soup restaurant and we ordered the most basic bowl of beef noodle soup. The beef was super tender, the soup was very rich, very brothy. I've had beef noodle soup in China, but this was totally different. The soup was more clear, less tomatoey, but extremely delicious nevertheless. Now, at the end of my 2 weeks in Hsinchu, I had the opportunity to experience something truly unique. My colleagues got together one lunchtime and took me out to a place selling ginger chicken. Now, this was unique for a couple of reasons. One, the broth that the chicken was stewed in was very light and very herb infused. I could really taste the ginger very strongly, and there was also an overwhelming smell of rice wine. And second, the chicken itself was black. And I mean that literally. The bones were black, the flesh was black, and it really took some work to get through the pieces of chicken. The overall flavor profile of the hot pot dish, however, was very soothing, perfect for a winter lunch. Now, I wish I could say that was all, but unfortunately, towards the end of our lunch, they brought out a plate of fresh black chicken testicles. Now, surprisingly, I haven't had testicles before, so I didn't know how to tackle them. It really felt like a jello shot, which just popped in your mouth as soon as you applied a little bit of pressure on the skin. It was tasteless otherwise. You know what? Why don't we let my colleague demonstrate?
Yes, this is the candidate to eat black chicken testicles. Okay.
You feel stronger.
Can you describe it?
I think it's like a texture.
Okay.
It tastes like a kidney.
Kidney. Okay. Ah, thank you.
Very juicy.
Oh my gosh.
So after that memorable send-off from Hsinchu, I made my way to Taipei to spend my last weekend before flying back to the Netherlands. So it's Friday and I just checked into my hotel in Taipei. It's actually a pretty nice room, but there's no time to waste. We're at the end of a long week and I'm feeling pretty tired, but I'm very excited to go and finally check out the night markets here and maybe get some fried chicken, stinky tofu, We'll see. But yeah, let's go check it out. The night markets were extremely busy, and of course the quintessential smell of stinky tofu filled the air. I couldn't quite get myself to try that, and I ended up finally at a teppanyaki place. Sitting shoulder to shoulder with a fast-moving crowd of customers, I ordered way more than I could eat. It was a delicious, very filling late-night meal. However, that same black pepper sauce flavor kept coming back. Feeling fully stuffed, I did the touristy thing with the famous Taipei 101 building, and then finally went to bed. For my last full day in Taipei, I had a few spots to hit. So I started the day off with an early afternoon hike up the Shangshan Elephant Mountain hiking trail, which gave me an imposing view over the city of Taipei, including the Taipei 101 building. I then took the metro all the way to the other side of town to the Longshan Temple, got a bit of culture in there, and then went to the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall right in the center to have a nice walk around, and then got some lunch at a famous Xiaolongbao place before coming back to Taipei. The hike up Elephant Mountain was short but sweet. Even in the middle of December with a thin sweater on, it was a tiring hike and there was plenty of sweat going around. This was also clearly the place where a lot of Taipei postcard pictures are taken from. And in case you forgot what the mountain was called, there's friendly reminders all along the way. Longshan Buddhist Temple was the next stop, and wow, what an atmosphere. As you entered the temple, the noise of the street fell away, and the smell of incense hung in the air. The intricate details of the temple gate, as well as the various buildings within, created for a very uniquely serene atmosphere. After visiting the temple and taking a long walk through Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, I was in the mood for some Xiaolongbao. Now, instead of just going to Din Tai Fung, I found a seemingly nondescript restaurant nearby called Hangzhou Xiaolongbao. I was surprised at the crowd outside and deduced that the food must be good. I therefore asked for a menu card and decided to wait my turn. Unfortunately, the menu was fully in Chinese, and a lot of Google Translate went into play there. As usual, I ordered too much, but true to its name, the Xiaolongbao there were to die for. And so, having ticked my box marked Taipei, it was time to make the eerie COVID journey back to the Netherlands again. Alright, I'm at Taipei Airport, Taoyuan Airport, about to leave, and it's eerily quiet. Of course, there's not many people traveling now. Thank you guys for coming along with me on my journey to Taiwan. In this time of restricted travel, I hope this could show you that there is some light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully, pretty soon, we can all get to traveling carefree.